I won't presume to say anything on her behalf, but she will be here shortly, so we're going to make a start. And I think you will appreciate that it's appropriate for me to acknowledge that we are meeting here tonight on Kaurna land, and that they are the traditional people of the Adelaide Plains. So it's great to be able to recognise culture tonight. Culture from Pip Art Show, but also the culture of the traditional owners, the Kaurna people, and the relationship and beliefs that they have that tie them to this land. So it's a real gift that we have that they are so welcoming in terms of that, so we want to acknowledge that tonight. I do just want to mention a couple of people. We're really pleased to have the Honourable Kyan Ma, who's the Minister for Aboriginal Affairs, and Kyan, you'll forgive me that I don't mention everything else that you're Minister of, but there's a number of important portfolios that you cover, but it is the most important one for us, so we appreciate you being here. Stephen Marshall was here earlier in the evening. He's had to leave, but we appreciate his presence, as well as Sam Duluck, who's here tonight, who's the new member for Devonport. Professor Loach O'Donoghue, it's a great pleasure to have you here, as well as Councillor Tim Hine, and particularly I want to say thank you to Cheryl Bauer, our Principal, who as always is incredibly supportive of what we're doing. We are really going to truncate the amount of auction time once we finish with these short speeches. We'll probably finish 10 minutes after the last speech with the auction, so if you're worried about putting a bid in, that's when it will finish, and so we'll let you know at that time. Again, those people who've been down here will assure you it's cooler down there, so when the speech is finished you might want to go there. I could say a whole lot, but there are many people to thank, and I simply say thank you. Particularly these two people, Josephine Mick and her daughter Sally Scales from Pip Art Show, who have very much taken us under their wing. They have been doing an artist in residence program at St John's this week, and that's been fantastic. They also brought some of the students down from Pip Art Show, which has increased the relationship that we have with them, and we see that as being the future of developing relationships between remote communities and people in the cities, and that's a real bedrock of reconciliation, so we think that that's important. We just want to hand over to Josephine and Sally. Josephine, you can come up and talk to her in English, but we thought, considering what you're looking at, it might be worthwhile hearing her thoughts in Pit and Jar and having Sally tell you what that means.
Yay.
I'm very happy that you're all here with us tonight to see this art show by Ninika Artworks. We would really like to say thank you to Sal in the background over there, and Brian for doing this and all the immense hard work you've done, so thank you very much. So we would like to, this whole art show is about Ngapati, which is you give and I give. So we're doing this and this week because we appreciate our relationship with St John's, and the fact that this is helping us to bring our students to WOMAD, and we had the lucky pleasure of bringing 7 students last week who had an absolute ball, who went a little bit mental, who didn't want to go home when the night was finished, and who unfortunately for their homestay parents got into the car with paint, with coloured dye all over them. So Mum is saying it's very happy that we had the great students come up last year to experience our home and lives that we have up there, and we had a beautiful week with them, and then for them to come down here and experience that as well. Mum's just saying, well, thank you for all the artists who have done this work, that they've that we have got here, and she wants to thank the Minister for being here and who's going to buy her work.
No pressure. I keep getting outbid. I think everybody knows I've got to buy
So Mum's saying this is great because this is the first time we have got the pleasure to be at the art show, and it's been wonderful to do the painting at the school this week. While we only had it originally for the Year 9 and 10 art classes, we've gotten teachers to come in and do a few dots, and we've had the Year 12s who've really made it their own. And it's great that we are able to leave a bit of us at the School of St. John's.
Yay.
That's it.
400 years old. This is stuff that's 40,000 years old, that's our culture. So it's really exciting to have Josephine share that with us. Thank you.
Sorry.
That two lady was traveling to north from South Australia. And that's my dream story. And I sing.
So 2 women travelling from the south to the north.
And I always do painting my story, and that painting over there, my paint, that's my brother's dream story, and he born there. And he tell me, that's why I'm painting at Dutch painting big country. I'm from my father from dreaming at Hegu. And I'm painting at songs at Hegu. If someone come and see at art painting at Kulang at the school at songs.
Okay, we've got to explain. So we did 2 eagles for in our dot painting for St. John's. The eagle is St. John's crest, as well as being our totem in our family at home. So it's really coming together. So we've done the painting of 2 eagles, one of Mum with a child, so little eagles, and one of the St. John's eagle. So it's about Mum taking the kids and showing them the way. So, and then the painting that she's doing there is about where our uncle was born, but Mum does quite a few paintings, both from her country and from my grandfather and my grandmother. So she's got 2 different stories that she does.
And they all come with a song.
Yeah, they all come with songs. So this week, as we've been painting, she's also been singing the songs to the kids.
And min ma ko jara ko ni ngolo ngi nya palu bla feeding ka ko ka ga ring mo ngolo ngi ga e ko ka ro ka bla ko pinga da.
So they're talking about how the 2 women, as they were travelling, they heard an eagle, but they were carrying meat on their heads in their them, and they heard it coming, so they hid in the cave. So they were very frightened and they hid. Heard the bird and was frightened of it. Mum's a teacher for everything.
Pali is a great word to know. It means good, Josephine? Wirral's good. Palia's just, yeah.
And see you also.
And see you, yeah. It's Palia. So, Palia Josephine.
Palia Josephine.
It is really unfair to bring someone back from Sydney to speak about something really amazing and fantastic when you've got to follow on from someone singing. Tanya Hosh is the Joint Campaign Director of the Recognise movement, as I said before. I'm not going to preempt what she's going to say about that, but it's something that I hope that you take away from tonight as something also important about recognition. Tanya Hosh is an Adelaide woman. She's also a proud Torres Strait Island woman. She's been on a number of advisory boards, particularly around the formation of the question for the constitutional referendum. She continues to do that through her work with Recognise. She's been engaged with Aboriginal and Indigenous issues for a very long time, and she comes with an incredible pedigree in that regard. And so we are incredibly fortunate that she has made space straight off the plane, before she even gets home and kicks off her shoes and relaxes for the weekend, for her to come here tonight. And I think we really do appreciate that, Tanya, and thank you very much for doing that. Can we give her a round of applause, please?
Hi, it's hot in here, isn't it? That's my first observation, really. I am terribly sorry that I'm late, but I will give Qantas the credit for that. And because it is so warm and because I have kept you waiting, Josephine, I'm sorry that I missed your presentation, and I'm embarrassed to be here for a whole range of reasons. One of which is that I'm someone with both Welsh and Torres Strait Islander heritage, and I cannot sing a note. So I don't quite know how that happened. I'd like to perhaps make colonisation responsible for most of that. However, yes, it's sad. It's sad. Anyway, this is a great cause, and Brian, thank you for the invitation. And again, I truly am sorry for being late. I know there's a lot of esteemed people here in Lowacha. It's lovely to see you, and I know I owe you 100 phone calls. So, I was asked to come and speak and launch this really important project designed to help put Australians in touch with Aboriginal culture in a way that we frequently don't get the opportunity to do in a meaningful way. So you can go to an art gallery and you can observe a lot of beautiful art, or if you're fortunate enough, you can be in a community situation and see the art being prepared and presented. But most Australians never get that opportunity. And if you do get the opportunity to peruse some Aboriginal or Indigenous art, often it's done in a way that doesn't really allow you to stop and connect and really understand what that is and what it tells us about our history as Australian people. And that's, I guess, where I'm trying to make a segue to the Recognise campaign, and Brian gave me permission to do this. One of the great things about the Recognise movement, I think, is that it really is an invitation, an opportunity for Australian people to do something we've not yet had the opportunity to do. And that is to do something tangible about acknowledging the vast history of this country. Australia didn't start in 1788, and fortunately, most of us sort of know that, but we don't necessarily stop and reflect on what that means. Our national founding document, the Constitution, that was forged in 1901, it's not a page turner, we don't take it to the beach, I understand that. However, it does set the tone for the relationships that we have as Australians together. It was the document that came together to tell us how we should, as Australians, live together, be governed together. And yet that document in 2015 is still silent about who the first Australians are. It talks about lighthouses, it talks about coinage, and it doesn't say anything about the incredibly impressive history of this nation. It is written as though Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people don't exist. We're not mentioned in the document once, except, amazingly, it still has capacity to allow laws to be made that can discriminate on the basis of race. And where those laws have been applied, they've been applied in relation to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Section 25, and if you need to, you can look it up. I promise you it's there. still allows the state government to disqualify people from voting on the basis of their race, still in 2015. There's also another section that is pertinent, particularly I think for South Australians. The race power, it's commonly referred to, 5126, became very relevant in the High Marsh Island Bridge case, where it still allows the Commonwealth Government jurisdiction to make laws in relation to people of a certain race. But it doesn't say whether those laws need to be made to our detriment or benefit. And so the High Court did find in the High Marsh Island Bridge case that it means currently the Commonwealth Government can pass laws to our detriment as a race of people. Now, changing the Constitution is not easy. It takes a double majority, it's extremely difficult. I won't bore you with all the details of that. However, it's important that you understand that the Constitution can't change itself. Each and every one of us, if we believe that it's time that we updated this document to recognise the first Australians, to recognise that part of Australia's history, and also to deal with the racial discrimination that still exists within the document. We're still, at the moment, one of the few countries in the world to have a constitution that doesn't have an anti-racial discrimination clause, so we don't have any protection either on that basis. We're one of the few left in the world not to have that. We're one of the few in the world, in fact, to even mention race as a concept. So there is an opportunity before us. It's one where political leadership's really, really important, and I'm glad to see political representatives here tonight because their support and their leadership is important. But one of the great things about the idea that we might go to referendum and get to have a vote to change this circumstance is that each and every one of us of voting age across the country will get to go out one Saturday, and it has to be a Saturday, by the way. We'll get to go out one Saturday and tick some boxes to say a couple of things. One, that we want to make sure that the first people of this country are properly honoured and recognised in our founding document, and that our history and our cultures and our languages and our part of the Australian story matters, and it's something that we can all be proud of. And secondly, that we want to end the capacity of our national founding document to allow for racial discrimination to take place. So that's the people that teach our children at school, that's the people that serve us in the supermarket, that's the people we work alongside every day, the people that we live next door to, the people that we come into contact. And when you think about it, the High Court had an opportunity to do something about acknowledging some of this by overturning terra nullius. And you know, that very, very significant and important work that people like Lowitja were critical in making sure could happen was a really, really important step for the country. So the High Court did their part. And in some ways, I guess if you reflect on the significance of the apology from Kevin Rudd on behalf of the Australian people and from the Federal Parliament, the Parliament has taken a step to try and acknowledge some of our history in this regard. This will be the first time in a very, very long time, nearly 50 years, if you think back to the 1967 referendum, where everyday Australians of voting age get to go out and do those two simple things. Don't be paralysed by the enormity of the task, because we're the generation of Australians who are privileged enough to do something about this. It won't be easy, but it actually requires all of us to do it and act together, and I can't wait for that day. And I just think when surrounded by this really significant art, it's one thing to appreciate the art and to care about it, hang it on our walls. It's another thing to do something about making this art meaningful in our day-to-day lives as Australians. Thank you.
Tanya, I just want to say there is no apology needed because I think what you have said beautifully pairs together with, as you said, the artwork that we see here. I hope you're all invigorated by seeing the artwork, and I hope you're energised by what Tanya has said to you, to actually go out, take the uplifting sense of what we're seeing here and hearing what Josephine had to say, and realise the challenge that Tanya's offering us tonight, to really take that to the next level, where we actually do recognise Aboriginal people, not just in an event like this, but actually in our constitution as a nation. So there is no apology needed. You are vital for our night, because I think it really does give us all something to go on. We might take a piece of artwork away tonight, but all of us can participate in this great thing in the building of our nature as our nation as a better country. Thank you, Tanya, again.
Yay.
I simply want to say that we are going to give you 10 minutes until 8:30. Rachel Johnson has been playing magnificently. After we finish with the artwork, we're going to get some chairs out. She is going to really give us a focus time with the cello with Ashley. If you want to sit back and have another glass of wine, if you want to go out where the terrazzo floor is, it's 9 degrees cooler.